everyone. We hope you are enjoying Vampire Month.
We have a short little list for you of our favorite vampires. So,
starting with number 5, we have
Nosferatu. This was an old film. It predates the Dracula, Bela Lugosi. It is German Expressionism at its finest.
German Expressionism is kind of been repopularized by Tim Burton. A lot of his style is very German Expressionist, and it's very over the top and shadows and light versus dark and just
weird set designs
and it clearly is seen in the way they show like the vampire. He's very angular and kind of ugly looking, and these big bat ears and this big nose
and these two sharp front teeth,
and he walks around kind of like this, and there's a very famous scene where he's kind of gliding up the stairs.
He's probably one of the most different versions of Dracula that you'll ever find, and Nosferatu is Dracula. They just couldn't get the rights to it at the time,
so they just changed everyone's names, and it's the exact same thing. The ending is a little different, and the ending is very interesting, but we're not going to spoil that for you because you should totally go watch it. The entire thing is up on YouTube.
Go find it, go watch it. It is a wonderful piece of work.
Number 4 on our list is probably the most famous, most iconic versions of Dracula, and that is Bela Lugosi.
This is another old one, obviously, but Bela Lugosi's Dracula has influenced pretty much everything you knew about Dracula as a kid.
I am Dracula.
He's got that over-the-top Transylvanian accent. He's got the over-the-top acting. He's very like, ooh.
The widow's peak,
yeah.
The cape, everything you know about Dracula, every Dracula costume that you dressed up as a kid is because of this character.
And it really was like a great piece of acting. It really was a great movie. It's a lot of fun. Go check it out because it's a great piece of history, and it definitely influenced how other movies about vampires have come out since then.
I think Bela Lugosi is the first vampire where he was considered sexy in a way. Vampires before, like Nosferatu, it's all like creepy and scary, and then here's Bela Lugosi in his cape, and he's all suave, and he's like looking at you, and
he's got that like whole "I will intend to" with my stare kind of thing going on. Number 3, we have
Gary Oldman in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. The title is Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it is kind of like Bram Stoker's Dracula. In this movie, Gary Oldman is playing a dichotomy Dracula. He is both creepy and like very similar to what Nosferatu looks like, except the big pointy ears are actually his hair. And then the suave kind of foreign gentleman similar to Bela Lugosi. And this movie is one of the most wonderfully cheesy things you will ever see in your life. It has everything you could ever want in a vampire movie and more. So this is 2 hours of your life you will never get back, but trust me, it'll be awesome.
Number 2, we have Eric Northman from True Blood. Yay!
Sookie picked you up, cold and scared, off the side of the road and opened her home to you.
Well, technically it's my home.
There's something about Eric Northman, and it's not just Alexandra Skarsgård, who, let's be real, is very, very, very good looking. But Eric Northman, the character, at least as on the show, is very interesting. He's an old vampire. He was a Viking, which is kind of a strange backstory, but also very cool. And he's just so interesting, I guess, to put it that way.
He's very withholding of himself, and he kind of moves around with all of these characters not really saying anything about himself, and so he's got that whole mystery thing. But he also has this really kind of dark sense of humor that he very rarely brings out, and he's very snarky towards people. I love the relationship between Bill and Eric near the beginning of the series because the vampires are just all really coming out of the coffin and interacting with mainstream society. They haven't really had anyone else to talk to for a while, so they've had to interact with one another, and they're just so kind of proper. Like there's this one scene where Eric is sitting in the club with his phone out and Bill approaches him, and Eric looks up at him and just very properly says, "I texted you, Bill." And you're just like, it's so funny, these people who've been around for so long trying to deal with all of this new technology and just kind of getting it but not. And trying to one-up one another with getting it. And
it's just such a good character that we had to put him on this list.
And number 1 on our list of our favorite vampires, we have Lestat. And Lestat is from Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. He is very influential on how modern vampires are portrayed. It's the kind of cool, bad boy, rock star, like, counterculture thing going on. And he is just so much fun because he's one of the only vampires in that series who manages to go along and adapt and deal with modern life and living it to the fullest. And we have 2 movie adaptations. One with Tom Cruise, Interview with a Vampire, and it is Tom Cruise talking to Brad Pitt, and it's everything you would ever want in a Tom Cruise movie. It's one of the only Tom Cruise movies that I can actually watch. And then there is Queen of the Damned with Stuart Townsend, where they definitely tried to make it more sexy. And it's a lot of fun. It's not a good movie, but it is very, very campy, and camp can be very good.
I would say that Interview with the Vampires was one of those things that made vampires kind of like the ultimate sex symbol. So from that you get things like Twilight, where she just really wants to be with Edward and thinks he's like the wonderful thing.
And I would definitely say that Lestat influenced True Blood and whatever the Southern Vampire Chronicles that True Blood is based off of. And then even the Vampire Diaries with the whole Damon thing going on, where the bad boy, leather jacket, rock star.
It's all in there. So that is why we have Lestat first. So if you guys like any of these descriptions of these vampires, if you find them interesting, we recommend go check them out. They're a lot of fun. And if you guys happen to have any
favorite vampires that you want to tell us about, give us information in the comments. We love to expand our horizons and things.
So we will see you in our next video. Bye guys.